Okay, so good day everyone. For this week's lesson is all about professionals and practitioners in communication. So, meron tayo ditong three lessons. Lesson 2.1, journalism. Lesson 2.2 is all about advertising, and lesson 2.3 is all about public relations. So, lesson 2.1, let's begin. It's all about journalism. Okay, so at the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain why journalism is important in society, especially in democracy. Describe good journalism practices. Analyze the news stories on the front page of a newspaper according to whether these observe the principles of good journalism, and analyze the news stories broadcast on television or radio according to whether these observe the principles of good journalism. Okay, so journalism and its functions. Journalism refers to gathering, reporting, and dissemination of news through the mass media. Okay, so journalism, dito tayo nag-gather ng mga informations, nagre-report, and then nagdi-disseminate tayo ng news through the mass media. Okay, so when we gather and report disseminate news through mass media, hindi lang dalawang tao yung nag-uusap, kundi yung yung journalist mismo, kinakausap niya the whole country or the whole universe. So dapat yung mga ni-report niya is yung mga nag-gather niyang datas or information ay tama. Okay, so meron mga American journalists and American scholars na meron silang book na ginamit, and the main purpose na nilagay nila doon, the main purpose of journalism is to provide citizens with the information that they need to be free and governing. So, yun yung nilagay nilang main purpose ng journalism. Kasi, 'di ba, tama naman, to provide citizens with the information that they need. 'Di ba? So, that is all about journalism. Okay, so next slide tayo. We have here the elements of journalism. Okay, so the first one is journalism's first obligation is to the truth, 'di ba? So, ang journalism ay dapat totoo, 'di ba? So, what would you feel, 'di ba? Meron akong tanong sa inyo. What would you feel kung merong isang tao or isang journalist na nagsulat about sa'yo na hindi naman totoo? 'Di ba? So, what would you feel, 'di ba? So, ganun dapat yung journalism. It has to be true. Okay, so number 2 is its first loyalty is to citizens, 'di ba? Hindi sa mass media, it is all about the citizens kasi doon mo binibigay or doon mo sinasabi yung mga na-gather mong data. It is to citizens, and dapat wala tayong biases, 'di ba? So number 3 is its essence is a discipline of verification. So dapat meron verified yung mga data na binibigay natin sa citizens. Its practitioners must maintain an independence from those they cover. Okay, so meron dapat independence sa mga kino-cover nila, 'di ba? Yung mga practitioners. Okay, so number 5, it must serve as an independent monitor of power. So, yung pag sinabi nating independent monitor of power, no, ibig sabihin talaga, totoo, and yung independence niya is powerful enough para mapatunayan yung journal na yun. And number 6, it must provide a forum for public criticism and compromise. So, lahat tayo ay mayroong karapatan na i-criticize ang isang journal. Okay, so next is, it must strive to make the significant, interesting, and relevant. Dapat yung mga sinusulat na journalist, sinusulat ng mga journalist na mga journal articles, something like that, dapat interesting and relevant talaga. Okay, so number 8, it must keep the news comprehensive and proportional, di ba? So, dapat yung news na sinusulat nila is comprehensive. Dapat naiintindihan talaga ng lahat ng tao. And number 9, its practitioners must be allowed to exercise their personal conscience. Okay, so that is the elements of journalism. Okay, so next naman tayo, rights and responsibilities. Okay, so to ensure the journalists are able to perform their functions, di ba? So, yung mga journalists is meron din silang mga rights and responsibilities, and kailangan ma-perform nila ng maayos yung mga functions nila without any borders na nagbo-board sa kanilang ganyan. Okay, so free access to all sources of information. Ayan, sabi ko nga, dapat walang border. Meron silang free access to all sources of information. The right to investigate stories. Diba? Paano sila makakapaggawa ng isang journal article kung wala silang karapatang mag-investigate ng story. Diba? So, the right to protect the identity and confidentiality of one's sources. Diba? Meron dapat confidentiality or privacy sa isang source. Diba? So, next one is the right to publish stories without fear of punishment. So, yun yung mga karapatan ng some of the rights and the responsibilities of journalists. Okay, so meron tayo titong tatlong article. Article 15, the right to form, hold, receive, and impart opinions. Okay, so next, Article 16, free and equal access to information inside and outside the state borders. And Article 19, the freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information through any media. Okay, the most frequently found principles in these codes are truthfulness of information, 'di ba? Sinabi ko na to kanina, 'di ba? Yung the truthfulness of information, clarity of information, defense of public's rights, responsibilities in forming public opinion, standards of gathering and presenting information, respecting the integrity of sources, prohibition of discrimination on the basis of race, ethnicity, religion, and other characteristics, respect for privacy, prohibition of bribes and other benefits, the need to respect universal values and the diversity of cultures, the need to promote human rights, peace, social progress, and democracy. So, in short, dapat walang biases ang mga journalists kapag nagsusulat sila. Dapat walang biases and dapat pinoprotektahan nila yung mga culture ng iba, 'di ba? So dapat hindi natin sila dinidisrespect. So kailangan i-respect yung mga cultures nila kasi they respect ours. Okay. So next is the code of ethics drawn up by the society and professional journalists define the principles and standards of journalism practice as follows. Okay, so number 1 is seek the truth and report it. So, journalists should be honest, fair, and courageous in gathering, reporting, and interpreting information. Next is minimize harm. Ethical journalists treat sources, subjects, and colleagues as human beings deserving of respect. Next is act independently. Okay, so journalists should be free of obligation to any interest other than the public's right to know. Okay, so the last one is be accountable. Journalists are accountable to their readers, listeners, viewers, and each other. Okay, so there are some career opportunities in journalism. Okay, so sa journalism, meron tayo dito sa radio and television, general news, political newspapers, business newspapers, sports newspapers. Okay, so national, meron din tayo sa national, local, metropolitan newspapers. Okay, so meron din tayo sa audience natin, meron tayong community newspapers, religious newspapers, national language or vernacular, and yung meron din yung nilalabas na mga journal weekly or daily. Okay. So, meron tayong mga editorial roles. Okay, so meron ding reporter, 'di ba? May reporter, editor, columnist, copy editor, photographer, proofreader, and layout artist. So, meron ding mga career opportunities sa journalism. Ito yung some of them is advertising, circulation, marketing, production, and business. So, I think that's the end of our lesson 2.1, which is the journalism.